I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright, the same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that let you know to call your brother son. The story that just begun, the promise of what's to come, and I'ma remain a soldier till the war is won. Chop, chop, chop. You gon' flip. Chop, chop, chop. You gon' flip. Chop, chop, chop. You gon' flip. Chop, chop, chop.
So what do you think of my new intro? I'm not calling this commentary the Boondocks Commentary from now on. Well, just let me know in the comments and tell me what you think. But anyway, hello people. You gotta love Loud and Styles reference. This is CK Smith 08 here with another commentary for you. And helping me out is none other than domestic terrorist himself, the bro with the fro himself, Huey Freeman. Now, a lot of people, such as myself, know that we enjoy reading comic books, whether it be from Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, manga, or in this case, DC Comics. And two of my favorite DC characters from the DC universe have to be Superman, the Man of Steel, and Batman, the Dark Knight. Those are my two favorite comic book characters. But according to Fox 5 News, that's in Washington, D.C., there are some comic book readers that are pretty concerned about the edgy and graphic sex and violence that DC Comics have put in their comic books these days. Like, we haven't heard that before. Isn't that right, Jack Thompson, who claims that video games are evil because of all the sex, gores, and violence? Now, before I begin, I'd like to thank Crazy Cheese McGee for actually finding footages from Fox 5 News in regards to why DC was so serious of adding sex and violence to comic books these days. So now it's my turn to ask the age-old question to Fox 5 News in Washington, D.C. Why so serious? So without further ado, let's get this commentary show on the road. To the Batcave!
Graphic violence and sex. That's what you'll find in the pages of DC Comics today. The comic book company just went through an edgy makeover. It's causing controversy among some fans.
Fox News, I gotta be really honest with you. DC Comics, as well as other comic book companies, have had an edgy makeover since the 1980s. Let me give you a perfect example, and that's Alan Moore's Watchmen that has so much sex and violence, including Dr. Manhattan's nude scene and his giant penis. Ugh. And by the way, most of them were targeted by teens and adults, so why are you actually complaining about it?
Fox 5 Sherry Lee has the story.
Today's comic superheroes would make Archie and Veronica blush. It's the new DC Comics. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Love it or hate it.
They more or less darken the characters up. And today they introduce a lot of more reality into, like, you know, homosexuality, adultery, all that stuff is in the books now today.
Joe Blackwell started reading comics when he was 8, but they didn't look like this. Batman and Catwoman having sex on the rooftop.
Yeah, the same thing occurred when Night Owl and Silk Spectre had sex on the Watchmen. But it wasn't on the rooftop, it was inside a spacecraft or a hovercraft. And Wolverine with Jean Grey on Ultimate X-Men. Oh my.
A drunken Bruce Wayne, or blood-splattered battles with heads whacked off.
Hey, babies, she said whacked off.
You know, it's sort of like a fictionalized Playboy for kids at its worst.
Critics worry the once family-friendly genre has gone too far. Psychologists point out the overexposure to sex and violence for young children can encourage aggression.
Gee, that sounded like the same excuse that Jack Thompson made on video games. Maybe because for the simple fact that the adults or the parents were actually probably, I don't know, barred for their kids. So, Mr. Psychiatrist or Psychologist, ever thought about that?
Nah.
I think too many kids would be put in harm's way, or at least at risk.
The female characters are more sexualized. One that has drawn attention is Starfire, shown here in a popular Cartoon Network TV series. And this is the same character in the comic Red Hood and the Outlaws, much more voluptuous and scantily clad.
Normally I wouldn't bring this up, but to all you DC fans out there, if Robin actually saw a picture of Starfire looking like that on the comic book, he would actually say the following words.
Just in my past.
That it's a misrepresentation of reality. It sends the wrong message.
The comics mirror today's movie superheroes.
Holy 1960s, Batman!
The original Batman TV show threw a lot of fake, bloodless punches, but has since been replaced with a darker, edgier Batman.
Where is he?
In the comic world, that sells.
That's telling the truth, because back then, between the years of 1980s and 1990s, Tim Burton had directed 2 Batman movies and make it dark and edgy with Batman and Batman Returns. However, ever since Warner Bros. Gave Tim Burton the boot, he was replaced by Joel Schumacher and directed 2 other Batman films, which is Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, making it kind of like the mixture of the dark and edgy tone with the 60s version. The only problem is what really killed it was Batman and Robin, which is his last movie. And not only because of Arnold Schwarzenegger being as Mr. Freeze and his cheap ice puns.
Tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming. Allow me to break the ice. You are not sending me to the cooler. Freeze well. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Stay cool, bird boy. Let's kick some ice.
But also he ruined it with his lame storylines for Batman and Robin. What are you expecting I was gonna say? Back credit card?
The back credit card!
But thanks to director Christopher Nolan, he made Batman dark and edgy again and brought in Christian Bale to play the lead character with Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and his final movie, The Dark Knight Returns, which I'm still looking forward to coming out this year.
I think they're just trying to push the envelope and definitely got people's attention for it.
Jared Smith, president of Big Planet Comics, saw an initial surge in sales when the new comics premiered, although some turned-off fans stopped buying.
So it made a lot of people unhappy with it, or it was just something they didn't want to read.
The comic books are rated teen and teen plus, meaning they're not meant for younger children.
Oh my God, you know what I think?
So we went to a middle school to see what the kids here thought.
But first, a word from Michael Cole in regarding to Fox News showing the comic books to middle school students.
You people are fools!
There's a lot of sexual activity.
How old do you think you should be to see this?
I guess like around 16, or be a teenager, I guess.
Scary. It looks like they're having sex, right?
Yeah.
Some weren't fazed at all.
Looks pretty awesome. Looks good to look at because it has a lot of colors.
The images of bloodied bodies are accompanied by ads for Legos and milk.
Why are we advertising for little kids in a comic book that's rated for mature teens? What's going on here? What's wrong with this picture?
31 and 11.
Smith tells parents at his store these comics aren't for kids and points them another direction.
It's true, some comic book stores do have selection for younger children as well as adult teens, as well as the bookstores such as Barnes & Noble. I was going to say Boris, but that's been closed down years ago, which is a bummer.
There was definitely a shift on some of them towards I'd say a much more R-rated type of comic book.
Don't expect that to change. DC Comics is banking. This is the future. Sherry Lee, Fox News.
DC Comics would not give us a comment for our story. Experts say the bottom line is parents need to know what their kids are reading.
Oh, goody! Fox News advertisement.
Or hour by hour, view today's video forecast and radar that can pinpoint your neighborhood free at your App Store or Android Market.
Type now for my final thoughts. I don't have a problem with Fox News in general, but the thing is, they're taking DC Universe way too seriously with their sex and violence in comic books these days. And a few problems that I see with this. Not only did they get the child psychologist involved, but one of the news reports has actually shown a comic book to one of the middle-aged school students, which is not good at all, considering the fact that the comic books were actually targeted for teens and adults. All I can say is, in the words of the comic book guy, worst news reports ever. Now, to close out this commentary, I like to sum up DC Comics in a nutshell when it comes to adding sex and violence in comic books and targeting for teens and adults.
We've got to have money.
Exactly. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go to the latest comic book store and pick up a latest edition of Catwoman. This is TK Smith away, and I am out.